Hello, I'm Andy.
And I'm Rob. And today we're going sci-fi with Rogue Trooper Redux. Yes, it's another conversation about video games. And yeah, it's an interesting one, Andy. It's an interesting one.
Rogue Trooper Redux. It sounds like some 80s sci-fi film.
You're closer than you think. You're very, very close.
Tell me then, Rob, what does Rogue Trooper, if it's not in the title already, what's it about?
Okay, right. Rogue Trooper originally began as a comic strip in 2000 AD, along with Judge Dredd and various others, right? The character was created by Jerry Finley-Day and Dave Gibbons. Dave Gibbons is a really famous comic book artist. And Rogue Trooper is basically a blue-skinned, genetically created infantryman, and he forms part of the GI, genetic infantry. And he's basically a super soldier. He is immune to almost all known toxins, and he can be submerged in strong acid without being affected at all. And Rogue Trooper has a unit around him, his comrades, who are called Bagman, Gunnar, and Helm. And in the original story, in the original Rogue Trooper story, they were basically betrayed by a general. And now Rogue and his three companions, who are basically been reduced to biochips, because they're genetic infantry, they're effectively immortal as long as someone can take the chip that's implanted in the back of their head, take that, mount it on a piece of equipment that can sustain the electrical charge, and take them to a new body and implant them in a new body, and then they'll be alive again, you see.
Right.
Because their entire personality, their memories, everything is downloaded into the chip at the moment of death, because they're all genetically engineered. So Rogue actually has his entire team still with him, even after they were killed, so to speak, the betrayal of the traitor general. And so Gunnar is now mounted on Rogue's rifle, Bagman is mounted on Rogue's backpack, and Helm is obviously mounted on Rogue's helmet.
Makes perfect sense.
And now, a little bit of history about the game itself, rather than Rogue Trooper. Now, this is Rogue Trooper Redux, and the game actually originally appeared on the PS2, and it was published, if I remember rightly, by Eidos Interactive, or was it Reef? I can't remember. And it came out on the PlayStation 2, and it received relatively reasonable reviews on its release. It was one of those games where it had an interesting storyline, and the storyline was exactly what I've just said. It was the campaign against the Norts, and it was the betrayal of the traitor general, and Rogue losing his team, and then being mounted on the gun, the backpack, and the helm, and everything like that. Right? And the original game actually followed the storyline quite well. In fact, very, very well. It had some decent graphics, everything like that, for the time. What Rogue Trooper Redux is a remake of the original PS2 game with a few extra bits thrown in.
So it's a full remake, not more of a remaster type of...
Well, it's kind of a little bit of a remaster and a little bit of a remake, obviously. They've kept the storyline exactly the same, right? If it was a full remake, they would have rebuilt the game from the ground up, and they haven't done that. So in that aspect, it's more of a remaster than a remake. Now, this is being published by Rebellion Software, and it's out on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. And it's actually not that expensive. It's only about 20 quid for the full game. And the developers of Redux, TikTok Games, have done a really good job with the graphics, right? I'm going to start off with the way it looks. It looks very, very nice. A little bit clunky in places, but very, very nice in general. Now, the field terrain itself is kind of bland. The character models are actually pretty decent, and there are some really nice sci-fi set pieces in this, so that's quite well done. The audio is very good. They've basically taken the entirety of the first game and tweaked the audio, revamped the audio, and just basically gone for it with that. So the characters all sound very good. If you played the original PS2 game, there's a lot here that you'll be familiar with. Especially when it comes to how the game plays.
So how does the game play? It looks like similar. I've had a little look, and it looks more like I think it was what Mass Effect was for gameplay. I'm guessing just by the front cover.
Not quite. It is a third-person over-the-shoulder thing, right?
Mm.
Now, the problem with the original PS2 game was that the controls were an issue, and that seems to be the problem here. For example, if you're using your rifle, even if gunner is mounted on your rifle, once you run out of ammo, you can't automatically switch to your sub-weapon, your pistol, while gunner automatically reloads your rifle for you.
Mm.
It's the transition from rifle to pistol and then back to rifle is actually quite clunky. Throwing grenades and things like that, I keep forgetting which of the trigger buttons it is because that's not intuitive to me, you see.
Yeah.
I mean, having X as the dodge roll, I don't use X for the dodge roll, I use one of the trigger buttons. But the thing is, it won't let you remap the buttons to your liking. The camera moves around a bit too slowly for my tastes. I prefer
you can't change that either.
Not as far as I know. I've been through the options. I couldn't see the option. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. So I'm going to throw that out right now. I may be looking in the wrong place for the camera options. I've had a look. They weren't there when I looked. But yeah, anyway, the camera, I want a nice smooth transition, but at speed. I don't want to be wasting time with this lovely slow camera shot which pans around. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I get exactly what you mean. Just some games, I'm not entirely sure which ones exactly, but they do have that same problem. Where it might take about, I'm probably exaggerating, but let's just say about 5 seconds to look in the complete opposite direction.
FIFA. Definitely FIFA. All those goal replays. So anyway, as I was saying, Rogue Trooper Redux. Bagman is very useful. Bagman's probably the most useful biochip. He's on your bag, and he basically becomes like a 3D printer. He can make anything.
All right.
Yeah. It's funny because I was reading the piece that Eurogamer did on Rogue Trooper Redux, and I was amazed at some of the references in there. I was just thinking, who are you who's written this? Because they reference an old TV show I used to watch when I was a kid called Bertha, a machine in a factory that could make anything you wanted, and also reference the fact that one of the main bad guys in Rogue Trooper Redux sounds a lot like Werner Herzog, who's a very famous film director, which I didn't notice, and then obviously because I played the PS2 game ages ago, I've obviously forgotten. The thing that bugs me about this game, okay, as much as I love Rogue Trooper as a character, the thing that bugs me about this game is it's too linear. TikTok games have stuck religiously to the original game, and from my perspective, when you do a remake like this, even a remaster, right, I'm not a fan of them, because if I wanted to play that game, I would have hunted down the original version. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
So Bagman is kind of a 3D printer, and he can basically create ammo for you. And once you get that point, you can salvage, and you can ransack enemy bodies for salvage. You can ransack these little salvage drops that you'll find in secret areas, and you go on from there. And Helm is quite helpful when you get him, but one of the more fun additions is Gunnar, who is in your rifle. Because what you can do with Gunnar is you can create some very interesting tactical plays. Remember we were talking about Madden a while ago, right? And you remember we were talking about how American football is a lot more strategic, it's a lot more tactical, which is why all the managers have playbooks and they think up different ways of getting around, getting past the opposition team, yeah?
Yeah.
Rogue Trooper, once you've got Gunnar, Rogue Trooper becomes a bit like that in certain areas because you can place Gunnar in an area as a sentry gun and activate him and deactivate him whenever you want. And when you activate him, obviously he starts shooting anything that's near. But when he starts shooting, he's not in his silence mode, so he'll attract loads of attention. And what you can do with that...
strategy.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you want to have more attention drawn there, you'll basically chuck some mines over near Gunnar, some little micro mines. And then when everybody runs over, boom, 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 bang, 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 and you've got your distraction. And then afterwards, you can go pick up Gunnar as cool as you like. But the thing that bugs me about that is that nobody ever seems to think, why is there a sentry gun in the middle of the corridor? Do you see what I mean?
So it'll go, set me gun. There can't be an intruder.
Exactly. It does. Now, this game does have some stealth moments, and it's not going to win any prizes for stealth, and that's because the characters are clunky when they move. You can take cover, and you can do blind fire, and you can throw grenades over your head, but that's about the limit of what you can do effectively when you're undercover, or rather, behind cover, right? You can snipe other enemy soldiers, and you can choose which body part you want to attack, so you can even attack the air tanks, because the planet that you're fighting on is called New Earth, and New Earth has a radioactive atmosphere. It's poisonous to all humans. Rogue and his soldiers are fine. Rogue and the other GIs are fine. They're designed to withstand this stuff anyway, so they're okay. And obviously the Norts are all wearing gas masks with the air tanks and stuff like that, so you can shoot out the air tank if you want. So all those mechanics are still the same, and you'll get little trophies every time you do a certain action repeatedly, or you do a certain action very, very well. The concept of money is kind of a take it or leave it thing. You don't need it in this game. But the main thing that you'll keep coming back for in this game is the campaign. If you've not played the original Rogue Trooper before, then it's actually worth a look, because it does look better. Yes, the controls aren't as great as they could have been.
So it was a bit... Would you say the controls are more clunky, like not as fluid?
Yeah, they're definitely clunky. And this is the thing. There are certain things that really, really frustrated me. Number one, Rogue really can't jump. And you'd think as a super soldier, one of his basic movesets would be jump.
You would.
I'm actually shaking my head at the microphone, even though you can't see me, because you can't.
But I can feel your, what's the word, shockedness or shocking.
It's not that. It's just, I regard this as an oversight more than anything else. And the main reason I regard it as an oversight is because it wasn't there in the first game. You see. And TikTok have been so kind of focused on rebuilding the first game, bringing the first game into the modern era, that maybe they've overlooked the fact that they don't just have to bring the game into the modern era, they can enhance the game in ways that make it much easier and much more fun to play. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get you. It's a very, very overlooked feature that it needs to be. Like, you do need to jump.
Yeah.
It's like, is it like similar to you need to jump and he jumps a little inch off the floor? Like
well, no. I mean, we'd change the name of that movie from White to Blue, so it'd be Blue Men Can't Jump. But then, here on planet Earth, that means Sad Men Can't Jump. So anyway, yeah, that was Rogue Trooper Redux. What did you think of the game? I thought it was a cracking game for the most part, but it does have some glaring issues. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. Subscribe if you like geeky podcasts. We also have a Patreon. Then please support us on Patreon. I've been Rob.
And I've been Andy.
And we'll see you all later.